This is Brian. Today is Tuesday, June 24th, 2025, and I'm here in Rancho Bernardo. I parked right here on Carranza, right here next to Ipai Road, or Ipai Court. This is Carranza Drive, Ipai Court. Plans to go that way and hit two peaks, Lord and High, over Rancho Bernardo. Peak 1190 and peak 1163. So when you walk onto Ipai Court, be on the lookout for this little bit here. Wildlife habitat area. Okay. Ooh, starts off rocky here. So we're going to follow this power line right away for a while. And I'm going to branch out on the use trail that climbs up to the ridge. When I get up to the ridgeline junction, turn right, or roughly north, to hit peak 1163, left to hit peak 1190. These are two summits on Peak Bagger. So let's see how this works out today. So let's go up this power line right away and see what we can find. Very beautiful afternoon out here. It's only in the low to mid 70s at best. And look at this chaparral bush mallow. Look at this, a big one. Malacothamnus fasciculatus, variety fasciculatus. In bloom still. Wow. Gorgeous. This is a big one. Flowers look a lot like hibiscus, and there's a reason for that. They're related. Mallows and hibiscus are in the Malaceae, the mallow family. Alright, let's see what adventures we can find going up this way today. Go up these power line right a ways and see what happens on this adventure today. Alright. Climb up this and see up the way. Woo-wee! This one starts off steep. Oh man, this wastes no time. Whew. So it's a good way to start a good workout for the day. However, for me, I've already been working a full 8-hour day before coming out here. Today, I was lucky, got out at 1 o'clock today. Ooh-wee. Alright. So, continue on this for a while. I get a great workout on this one. A bunch of other peaks off in this direction too. Originally I was going to try that one time from Carranza going that way, but I saw no trespassing signs that way. This area, these are on Peak Bagger. I haven't seen any issues here along this stretch. So I was driving up here. It looked like both peaks had flags on them. So this should be interesting. Might have flags on both peaks. I think I'm gonna try to visit the slightly lower one first, peak 1163, which will be up at the ridge to the right, and then come back and visit the slightly higher one, peak 1190, and do that one second, and then just trudge down this at the end. But what I gotta do is I'm hiking up this way, let's look for a use trail branching off to my right at an area where the road keeps going, and then to the left there's a short dead-end spur on the power line right away. Very pretty out here, I'll tell you that. Right away we're in the chaparral. Right away. Some coastal sage scrub mixing in here and there, but yeah, already getting some bush rue, some Neoridium dumosum. Looks like the fruits have already passed the ripening. Really nice. And of course, a lot of black sage up here. It's starting to dry out for summer because we're not getting any more rain, of course. So black sage is starting to dry out, but there's still quite a bit left in the foliage. And common chamise. That should never be a surprise in the California chaparral, because it ranges through basically wherever there's chaparral in the state, except in really far desert regions where there might be some chaparral in the Montana deserts. But common chamise should never be a surprise. And of course, the old go-to favorite, Melosma lorina, beautiful floral sumac, budding out for its early summer blossoms. This is my first official hike of summer, as today is the 24th. Last week, it was still technically spring when I went on the Poser Mountain hike. That was a doozy. Check that out if you're interested in seeing me make what should be a relatively straightforward out and back hike into a complicated mess by making some route finding mistakes. I mean, it's a doable way. I'm not in the best shape in the world and I still made it, but it'll cost you a lot of energy when it should be a relatively easy back and forth jaunt. All right, it's very pretty up here, I'll tell you that. A lot of pretty cool spots in Rancho Bernardo, Escondido, the Black Mountain area. All right, there's a lot of good stuff around here. Okay, I gotta look for the use trail, I think. Let's see. It's supposed to be a use trail branching off to the right. Let's see where it is. Pretty nice climb getting up here. So I gotta look out over on this side here. Should be some trail action going up that way. So I gotta look out for it. There's another weeds Mariposa lily. I'm seeing a lot of that this year. Always cool to see that plant. Alright. Gotta look out for a use trail around here somewhere. I think I'm near where I should be branching off. Here it is. There's a small junction, one junction going down this way. Then there's another junction here. And this is where this little spur ends right here, it dead ends. While this one should be going around the mountain, around the other side. There's a use trail right here, and it should take me up towards the ridgeline. So let's do this. Look over towards Bernardo Mountain. That was an option I was considering today, trying to get up to Bernardo Mountain. At least I wrote down the directions to get to that trailhead. You have a couple different options for what trailhead you want to take. Piedras Pintadas trailhead, or you could do it off of, was it Sunset Road? Sunset Road, there's a place to park at the end of that, and there's a trailhead there to get to Bernardo Mountain. That should be a trip for another time. Today, I'm going to focus on the slightly higher, unnamed peaks. So let's do this. Let's make this one count. Here I go up into the chaparral again, and I'll see you on the next clip. It's a pretty nice use trail. Very easy to follow. There are going to be some really weird junctions though once we get over to the ridge line. So I'm going to have to pay attention where I'm going. There are a jumble of trails up on the ridge line. If I follow, they should generally lead towards either peak. Now, this is very pretty up here. There's a lot of bushroot growing up here. A lot of Mariposa lily. This trail wastes no time. Kind of expected it, being that it is a use trail, climbing up into the hills. Yeah, something tells me there are going to be some pretty sick views up here. It's a bit hazy outside, but should be able to point out some pretty juicy stuff. I'm gonna get up here. Oh, the weather's very nice. Very nice. Maybe a couple degrees cooler than average for this time of year. Very nice indeed. Good for a little bit of hiking before these inland foothill communities get a little too hot, and I'll have to do them before sunrise. All right, see you on the next clip. This is really nice. It's very beautiful up here. It's gorgeous, actually. This is a really cool trail. Waste no time getting up here. It's a pretty efficient trail to get up to the ridgeline. Feels more like a regular trail than a use trail, but I don't think it's an officially named trail. Oh, just saw an orange-throated whiptail running through the rocks there. Bushes. Pretty cool. I remember looking at Google imagery. There was a slab section, nice chunk of the way up. The trail just continues off over that way. Catch my breath a little bit. Wow, this is a very, very interesting looking area. Looks very biologically and botanically very interesting. I haven't seen any species I've never seen before. Some very beautiful chaparral up here. It's very interesting. Just the area, just very interesting. So we got some thick leaf yerba santa up here too. Some Eriodictyon crassifolium Variety crassifolium. Yeah, my shift today was 4 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's been months since I've worked that. I'm usually 6 to 3. That's usually why I don't really typically get into too much after work hiking like I used to. Occasionally. But since I was 4 to 1 today, I got a doctor's appointment at 9 in the morning tomorrow. Figured finally get one of those after work hikes in. And here I am. Yeah. This is so neat looking. I like these slabs. A lot of these hills further inland, a lot of these boulders are more exposed. Like some of the inland foothills have just huge boulder outcrops. Very interesting. Looks like our trail goes this way. So if you come to this area here, it looks like it goes this way, but then you'll see it peters out. This is why. Because the trail actually goes through the slab, continues, and goes along the left side of that granite slab up there. So I've been paying attention to the imagery on Google Earth as I was planning this hike out. Wow. Beautiful chaparral up here. Very nice. All right. So once again, the trail goes kind of through, slightly left of the slab when we get towards the end here. You just walk on the slab. No rock scrambling required here. I don't know if there'll be a summit block. That I'm not too sure about. But for now, let's keep following this up. Very picturesque here. This requires some photos. I can see the area where I'm parked. I can actually see my car from here. Right down there, that right there is the white pavement for E-Bike Court. I started walking uphill up that. I'm parked just on Carranza, a few under some of those Canary Island pines down there. So I'm parked down there. I'm a nice chunk of the way up this already. So what I would do is when I get to the ridge, start looking around to find my trail to the first peak of the day. I definitely had 3 or 4 possibilities for today. One possibility, this one, which is what I'm doing. Another possibility, Bernardo Mountain. Another possibility, 2 small peaks near the Piedras Pintadas trailhead. Peak 510, 498. Really short run from the trailhead there. And past the Powell, the 5 peak. It's going to do a 5 peak run over there. Twin Peaks southeast. Then I was going to try to hit peak 1091. Okay, I'm going to go here this way. Peak 1091, peak 1032, and Boulder Mountain. All in the same general location. Accessible done the hike up to Twin Peaks and Twin Peaks Southeast back in September of last year, but I just did those. This time I want to do the 5 summits, do another 5 summit tour. Oh, black sage is still blooming. Beautiful bumblebees up here too. So I'm on a really narrow use trail here. It's heading me towards Old Glory. This is more of a use trail than a regular trail. It's very thin. So I get a little more of a rugged experience. So I think I'm nearing peak 1163. Yeah, this is where we start getting lots of trail junctions. I'm gonna go around this here. So it looked like there are 2 flags, one on one of them and another on the other. Let's see. Let me see. This is where a little maneuvering around might be required. Let's see. Yeah. Because there should be a trail leading to both. So if I'm not on a trail, probably not going the way I want to go. I mean, most of the chaparral looks pretty easy to hike through, but I'd rather stay on trail as much as possible, to be honest with you. Not that I'm adverse to cross-country hiking, but if I can get there on trail, I'm going to go for it. Let's see. Looks like I'm heading away from it. Yeah. I'm not on the trail right now. There's a pathway through all these shrubs here, but this isn't what I had in mind. Let's see. So on the way back, I'm really going to have to really pay attention where I'm going. Okay, here's a path right here. Alright. When I go back, I'll have to really pay attention. Especially just below that first flag over there. Okay. Wait a minute. Okay, so I'm actually almost on peak 1190. I was trying to get to that one first. 63. Almost on the higher one right now. My intent was to get that one first. Alright. I guess that will be peak 1190. Alright. Starting to get some manzanita popping up now. Got Eastwood manzanita popping up here. So I guess I was closer to 1190 than 1163. So I'm gonna have to find a use trail that runs along the ridge so I can make sure I get to that one as well. I'm definitely planning on making a multi-summit day today. I want to visit both these beautiful peaks. All right. Whoa. All right. Just about up the first one. Looks like, yeah. We got American flags on both of these. How cool is that? I say there are a lot of trails running through here, so pay attention where you're going. Have it mapped out. All right. There's Old Glory flapping in the wind. It's a very nice breezy afternoon up here. All right. Summit block is just a quick little class 1 ramp. This is it. Peak 1 today. Peak 1190. Bernardo. All right. Not that hard getting up here. Some steep spots. Once you get to the ridge line, it's just knowing where to navigate, how to navigate around this. Peak 1190. I want to come up here for a while. There are other ways to get up here. You can get up here down there, Rancho Bernardo Road, I believe that is. You can find a trail coming up. I think you can get up from that same power line right away, and then you can either branch off on the used trail or continue up that until you find the used trail I took to get up here. Cool. Very nice up here. You're gonna have to forgive me because there's gonna be wind. So when I do my 360, I might just point to it and type it in the screen because this might get kind of hard to hear me. All right. So what I'm gonna do is just take my selfie and start pointing out views. Yeah, just take a look at Old Glory first of all. Flying high over Rancho Bernardo, another neighborhood in San Diego that offers some pretty dope hiking, to be honest with you. I mean, look at this. This is not a very extremely well-known place. It's known for more dedicated peak lovers. I would say probably more popular with them. There are a few ascents on Peak Bagger for this one. Maybe some for that one. But I don't think this is a routinely climbed hill by hikers. Or if this is, I guess, for most people, this is mostly just for the sake of climbing a peak. And I'm not gonna lie, it's my way to get up here too. But knowing that I love our native plants, all that does is just enhance the awesomeness of here. So I'm gonna take myself a selfie. And I'm going to put it in the screen because otherwise, it's just you're probably not going to be able to hear my voice too well, especially when I turn 180 degrees. Alright, you might just hear my voice point out a few things, but I'm going to start by pointing out towards the east. Northeast. yeah, the wind is going to be way too much for me to be able to really talk a lot. So that's why I just pointed, and the screen will say it for me. Unless I can overdub it or something. That's what I got to figure out how to do. I think I might be able to figure out how to overdub my voice onto a video. I might have to try that and see if I can maybe experiment with that, like on a previous video or something. But yeah, these are pretty good views. You can see Mission Trails Regional Park, beautiful Powell Range. I mean, you can see Palomar Mountain on a clearer day. I mean, I can see it through the haze, but yeah, extremely great view. You can see over the top of Harmony Grove. Some great views up here in the Rancho Bernardo neighborhood. Some great views on this peak. I really want to get to that one, so I'm going to have to try to see if I can get a used trail, see if I can connect myself over there. This might actually require a little bit of route finding, considering the fact that some of these spots look pretty open, and you think it's a trail, and it's just space between the shrubs. So yeah, I guess there is a slight element of route finding up here if you don't know the trails too well. And I'm up for the challenge, and I'm ready to get to that second peak. So 1190, really nice peak here. I wonder if that was a grinding hole or something. Usually they're a lot rounder and smoother than that, so I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah. It says, thank you for your service. There we go. Old Glory. Let me get a couple of regular shots up here, or pictures. And I'm going to start moving on to see if I can navigate to peak 1163. All right. Shot of Old Glory. And I'll be running into another Old Glory on the other peak. Now let's just see if I can find my way to that peak. Because these trails do connect. And I did see a trail connecting up there. So I believe I came up this way here to finish it off. So I'm going to follow this here and see if this leads me along the ridge. I don't think I came this way. I think it came up from the other side. Let's hope that this connects me to peak 1163. I'm going to be honest, so far it's a pretty easy hike. It's got some steep spots, but you know, any hike can have a steep spot or two. So it's not like it's not a workout. Yeah, last week's hike should have been an easy hike, but boy, I really made it harder than it had to be, I'll tell you. Right now, I made it much harder than it had to be. I'm trying to see if I see my footsteps. I don't know, do I? Yeah, I do see my footsteps. Alright, so I'm going to have to figure out how to get over there. So yeah, we actually got regular manzanita up here, Eastwood manzanita. And of course we have a lot of mission manzanita too. But yeah, appears that we got some Arctostaphylos glandulosa, subspecies glandulosa. Pretty cool. Now I had a field guide to manzanitas. They used to have it, and then I lost it. But I remembered it. So I have it with me, so next time I go adventuring in the mountains, I'll have it with me so I can use it, because I still struggle with some manzanitas. I'm not going to lie, I still struggle with them. They can be pretty confusing. Alright, so let's see. Yeah, this is roughly how I came up. What I need to do is find out how to get over there. Let's see if I can figure this out. Alright, so my hiking map might be slightly off, but it might be a better way. Well, we'll see how this is. If it's approximate, I'll let you know. If I do figure out the way I went up and down perfectly, of course I will let you know as well. Alright, on to the next portion of this event. Alright, so my goal is stick as close to the ridgeline as possible. I'm assuming that's going to be my call to action. So I've been coming from this way, and and there's the flag from Peak 1190. There's a trail not that far that goes down the hill. What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to keep up here and see if I can navigate through this and see if there's a trail through here that will allow me to reach over there. So far, so good. So now I'm staying more on the ridge. So what I got to do is just make sure I stay on the trail that gets me to that saddle, and then so I can climb up Peak 1163. So let's see how this works out. There's a trail here branching off to the left. Let's see. I'm trying to make sure this isn't one that I took already. I said there are mazes of trails all around here. See, here's another one that branches off this way, where it looks like a trail. Let's see if it stays being a trail. And there's the flag. Old Glory right there. Okay, here's a trail. Here looks like a bigger trail here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn right. It's going to be pretty tough to map this one out. But if I can't map out my specific route, the route I map out might be a slightly better one. But this is a much larger trail now, much wider trail. Look at that, piece 1163. Supposed to be supposed to be my second stop of the day, and we're heading right for it. So I'm doing something right. Just being out here. So a long week of work, long arduous week of work. So I'm doing something right now, and I'm doing it right for myself. All right. Looks like this is going to take me where I want to go. I can see a use trail cutting up the west slope of the peak. Alright, let's see what we find. Speaking of which, here's a non-native cistus, the rock rose, purplish flowers. Non-native, probably from the Mediterranean. Now we do have a plant that is native from the same family, the rock rose family, the Cistaceae. And it's this plant here, and it's still blooming a little bit. This is called the yellow rush rose. It has like 1,000 different names. This is Chrysanthemum scoparium. This is related to that purple rock rose. However, unlike that one, which is not native, the chrysanthemum one that I just pointed out right now is a native perennial slash subshrub found a lot here in low elevation chaparral and sage scrub. We are in a lot of bush rue up here, lots of black sage. This chaparral is relatively open here, allows a lot of black sage to grow along this ridge line. Sometimes when the chaparral is really thickly packed, you don't get as much black sage. When it's more open, it allows black sage to grow a lot more. We're still pretty well in bloom, and we got bumblebees up the wazoo. Bumblebees and carpenter bees. Yeah, the black sage is still blooming up here in these beautiful hills. I gotta admit, man, this really gives me a good vibe. Just this beautiful ridge line. I love being on ridge lines too. I just love complex geography. I love it. And this is heading me right exactly where I wanted to go. Right towards the peak. Oh, we got a lemonade berry. A small Rus integrifolia right there in the center. Not a lot of that around here. Yeah. What a cool place this is. I like these flat little slabs. Make for interesting scenes. And it's pretty good. You don't have to really scramble anything. I have not encountered anything. I've encountered anything more than the last one. You can see our trail is kind of following along scuffed in underneath peak 1163. And there's back towards 1190. I can still see Old Glory flapping. And we got Old Glory on this one. That one on 1163 seems to be in better shape. It's not all tattered like the one on 1190. I love these multi-peak days. Oh, these are the best. Oh, look at that. Daisy Fleabane again. Erigarin foliosus, variety foliosus. Haven't seen that a lot this year. And yeah, here's more Eastwood manzanita. All right. Sometimes I still get pretty shocked when I see it this low in elevation, below 2,000 feet. I still get pretty shocked to see it. But there's quite a bit of it up here along the ridge line. There's a lot of manzanita. There's also a lot of Eastwood manzanitas close relative, and that's Mission manzanita, Xylococcus bicolor. So it's not a true manzanita in the genus Arctostaphylos like the Eastwood is, but it is a fairly close relative, closely related. What kind of red bear are we looking at here? This looks intermediate between hairy redberry and spiny redberry. These are larger than you'd expect on regular Rhamnus crocea, but slightly smaller than I'd expect on Rhamnus pilosa or its close cousin, Rhamnus falcifolia. Wow, this is an absolutely gorgeous place. I love it. I love these little slightly out of the way places. You really can explore and a lot of times have these places yourself. All right, enough yapping. Time for some more approaching peak 1163. That is. Oh, look at that. And there's Bernardo Mountain, right over there. One of these days, I'm gonna go for it. Sometimes you save the real juicy stuff for later. Oh, you hear some more Rusa tetrafolia, some more lemonade berry. Not very common over here, I'm surprised. All right, enough yapping. Time to keep moving. All right, what do we got coming up here? I think we got our first scrub oak of the day. Oh yes, we do. We got a Quercus accugens here. That's the first scrub oak I've seen so far. We're just about at the saddle here for our last summit push to 1163. Man, it is so cool out here. I love it. Oh, I just love these little these small miniature mountain ranges, little ranges of hills and ridges. They all have their own little personalities. I mean, I'm surrounded on all four sides by suburbia. You can actually hear the sounds of suburbia as I'm doing this. But just right here is just this cool little rocky ridge line. It's just amazing. It's just so cool. I just love these type of little hikes. Alright, so we're getting ready for our summit push here for 1163. Took a little maneuvering around past 1190 to locate this ridgeline use trail. Alright. These little hikes are so much fun. So much fun. You can just have adventures. Cool little adventures. That's why I like doing these type of videos too. Is to show people you don't have to go to all these places to have an adventure. You don't have to go way out to the abyss to have these adventures. You can have them really close to home. This is a short, maybe about a 35-minute drive from where I work. 35-minute drive from where I work to get up here. And it's just beautiful out here. This is where happiness is for me. This is where happiness is. Climbing peaks, smelling sage, enjoying the chaparral, the sage scrub. There's 1190. That was my first peak of the day. Amazing. See the flag just up there, waving around. I'm heading right towards it right now. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop yapping for a little while. Just gonna enjoy this, and I'll catch you on the next clip. Alright, so come up quite a ways. Except we might have a little scramble here. Let's see. Just need to prop yourself up on the rock a little bit. Not any real true scramble. Wow. Flag over there. Interesting. Right there. There's another one. That's cool. Here's looking back at peak 1190. Wow. These little mini ranges, man. Little ranges pack a lot of fun hiking in here. Alright. Looks like the peak right now. Assuming there's a flag over there, there's probably a trail to get to it. Alright. Just about to summit this one. Summit number 2 of the day. Within seconds. Okay. Alright. The high point. Looks like a toss-up between that and that. Let's see. I'm not going to step too much on these rocks because I don't want to accidentally dislodge the flag. Well, here we are. Peak 1163. In short order, 2 quick peaks. Really nice. I think our high point might be that little jumble right there. The mini summit block over here. I think those jumbles go a little bit higher. Okay. Just a quick little scramble up here. Nothing really extreme. It looks like nothing more than just a quick little class 2 rock here. Okay. Peak 1163. Summit number 2 of the day. There are a bunch of other smaller peaks on the north side of this Eventually I like to explore them too. But yeah, here we are. Alright, I'll do a quick 360 up here. I'm going to start by looking south, and I'm going to wind my way counterclockwise like before. There's the Powell range again, Woodson Mountain there. East. Swing it around southwest towards the next Not very hard getting up here, especially when you're following the ridgeline. It's very easy hiking. And once you're on the ridgeline trail, it's pretty easy to follow. Just pay attention, pay attention here and there. I need to pay attention a little bit here and there, but for the most part, it's pretty self-explanatory. You're pretty much good. If you're on that trail, heading roughly north from peak 1190, you're pretty much good to go. So, getting back, I'm probably not going to climb most of the way back up 1190. I think I'm going to have to do that to get back to the use trail going down towards Carranza and Ipai. I can kind of see where Ipai Court is right down there. So I'm parked just down there where those lines of pine trees are right there. It's pretty cool views on this peak too. Really cool views. The only thing standing in the way locally is peak 1190. Summit number 2 of the day. I love these multi-summit days. They just feel so good. Alright, time for summit selfie number 2. As I'm up here, before I'm leaving, I was kind of looking around and seeing some of these other peaks that I was considering hitting. I might hit in the near future on an early morning run or something. But I can see some of the other peaks that I wanted to climb. Down this little area right here, down this area right here, there's 2 of the peaks from the Piedras Pintadas trailhead. The one, it's hard to see because the hills are really close to each other. Peak 498 and peak 510 right next to each other, separated by a small saddle. You can get up those from a trail at the Piedras Pintadas trailhead. And I was also considering some of the peaks around Harmony Grove over this way. Thinking about maybe Mount Israel, 1337. I was thinking about some of those as well, and maybe the other peaks like Hodges Overlook. I was considering those too, but I had to decide on something because there was no way I wanted to miss out on another hiking opportunity. But I didn't. So it looks like we got ourselves a it's going to start shading and that's California. So this plant will probably start going deciduous pretty soon until winter time. So yeah, that's 3 days into quorum. I don't see any fruit left on it. Really cool. This is a cool little peak. These are some cool little summits. I love these little summits that you can visit when you're hiking in these small hill ranges and small mini mountain ranges. So that's why I like doing these type of things, because you get to climb peaks and you just get to experience a different area each time. So I'm gonna go ahead and carefully walk back down this. Just a quick little class 2 jaunt down this, and that's it. That's the only real scrambling. There's a few taller rocks that are class 1. You just gotta step a little bit higher. That's about it. But no big rock scrambles to get it. Let's see if I can go to that. Go to that little flag over there. It's a tiny flag. I'm just gonna go check it out. Why not? It's there. First, I need to get my part of my thumbnail. Set up half of my thumbnail for this hiking video. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead. I'm still kind of on the Ridge Use Trail. There's peak 1163, peak 1190, and now we're getting up to our third Old Glory. So I'm gonna hit a hat trick of flags today, of American flags. So here we go. I'm gonna visit. It's not really a peak, but another American flag. Third one that I've seen in this area. This is pretty cool. This one's in really rough shape, unfortunately. This one's really tattered. This would be a good Memorial Day or 4th of July hike, actually. Memorial Day, Veterans Day, Labor Day, 4th of July, America, United States holidays. This would actually be a good hike for those, just to show your appreciation for, living in the U.S. and another just cool way to celebrate by getting some beneficial exercise too. All right, let's get a picture of this too. All right, so I'm just going to explore just a little bit further, just a little bit, just for the sake of exploring this cool area. Just a little bit. I'm not going to go making any more big mountain climbs. But this is just try to help sate my curiosity just a little bit more. Beautiful out here. It's so crazy. It's a cool little ridge line. Surrounded by suburbia. Surrounded by Rancho Bernardo. And you know what? That's the thing about the San Diego metropolitan area. You get a lot of real estate, a lot of developed real estate, and then boom, you got all of this these undeveloped hills, which I hope stay that way in perpetuity. This is cool. Here's Battle Mountain again. That small cone-shaped peak right there. That's another one I did in this general vicinity last February. It was an after work hike too. That's when I was still getting out at 1 every day. There's a water tower here. There's a water tower. But you see, there are a couple of other peaks here too. They look very tempting. I don't know if I'm going to really go for that. Let me just kind of amble along this a little bit. There are a few other peaks in the area. It's tempting, I'm not going to lie. Very tempting. Alright. I'm just going to go, I think I'm going to go to the edge of this maybe. Can't help it, I'm just so curious. being a peak climber, and I love exploring areas. Curiosity is what gets me. Let's see what it looks like from here. This is very nice out here. It's very peaceful. And being surrounded by all the hubbub of city life and suburbia, it's nice to have these open spaces so close. There's our peak right there, 1163. I know if I go a lot further, double will climb back up. Just take a break here, some drink, keep hydrated. Because look at some of these other hills. Some of these peaks are like not around 940 feet. Would be something to explore maybe in a future video when the weather's cooler and I get an earlier start. But pretty nice. I mean, the weather's really nice today. Very nice, actually. The weather's actually beautiful out. All right, I'm gonna take a break, get something to drink. I'm very tempted to go down there and climb those hills. Not gonna lie. The temptation to keep exploring is overpowering my my desire to want to head back. Yeah. I think I'm going to explore some more. One heck of a climb on the way out. I think some part of that road on that side is off limits, I think. That's where I saw the trespassing sign. So to come back, I'm going to have to climb up over this, but it might be, well, it'll probably be worth it. I really want to get to these two peaks here too. These peaks are about like 900, 930, 940 feet, I believe. Let's see. Let's see how my navigation skills are. Because otherwise I would have gone over there. But I can't help it. It's just something's just nagging me to continue going forward. I can get down to that valley down there. I'm gonna at least probably go over by the water tower. I know I'm gonna have some pretty decent climbing on the way out, but boy, the temptation is really driving me forward instead of turning me back, to be honest with you. There's a water tower down there. This trail will probably skirt around the side of it. Explore that little knoll right there. I think there's a trail heading up that. I don't know if that's really a peak, but so at least go to that. Like I said, I'm feeling the drive to explore some more. It's really becoming hard to resist it. So I guess right now I'm deciding not to resist it and go for it. Let's see if this leads over, at least to that little nubbin right there. Let's see what it seems like over there, and see if continuing on down to the valley for an interesting out back will be in the cards today. Okay, so I gotta see, there's a drainage culvert here. Let me see. I'm supposed to go around this way. Let me see. I'm kind of curious. What happens as I head down this? I saw something. There's a fence up there. Yeah, I don't know. I can't see a barbed wire fence. It might be the end of the road. There's a little drainage culvert right here, and here's the power line or water tank, the water power. All right, let me go back up this and see. Oh, we got a sugar bush. Got a Rusovada right here. That's an interesting looking Rusovada. It almost looks like a hybrid between Rusovada and Malosma lorina, but I don't know if that's possible. I don't think they hybridize with one another. Very curious looking sumac. Very curious looking. Alright. Yeah, I'm just very curious to see. Okay, here's the trail. That's the trail on which I came down to here. Let's see what happens when I follow the drainage culvert over here a little bit more. I wonder if it'll link up to another trail. I don't know. Yeah, I do see a barbed wire fence, so I'm going to assume that this down in that valley, try to get to those 290 peaks over there. But well, at least I made it out here to the water tower. I guess I'll start getting ready to climb back up towards the peaks and start ambling my way back. This is a really cool adventure. Really enjoyed coming out here. I really want to get down there, but that might be private property down there. I don't know. Like I said, there's a barbed wire fence on this little spur ridge here. So I assume that maybe doing that is going to be pressing my luck. So I don't know. Can't lie though. This has been a pretty fun. This has been a really fun outing here in Rancho Bernardo. Really had a good time exploring a couple of these hills. It looks like there's a benchmark here. It's hard to read. I can't really see much. I just see letters and numbers. There's a small benchmark there. And here's our trail. This is going to lead us back over peak 1163 on the ridge line once again. So I do have botany just interrupted my train of thought. So let's go with it. A couple Mojave yuccas growing here. Very nice. Some Yucca scadigera. The first one I've seen. I've seen mostly chaparral yucca. That's what these old stalks are from, chaparral yuccas. Hespero yucca wibbly. Yeah, a couple Mojave yuccas growing here. And we come across a couple more scrub oaks here and there. Alright, so I'll start ambling my way back up towards the ridge line, and I guess I'll start heading back. What an amazing place this is. A lot of cool things to explore when you're out here. Some ruts in the trail as you get north of peak 1163. So just watch out. It's a little rockier, a little looser, so just pay attention. Trekking poles would probably be a good idea, but I didn't bring mine on this one. Alright, I'll see you for further updates along this beautiful ridge line here in Rancho Bernardo. Alright, so I'm passing by the third flag, and peak 1163. There's There's peak 1190 again. Admit, this was a really cool hike. Really enjoyed this one. Definitely something to savor too. So I'm going to be heading most of the way up to the peak, except I'm not going to go to the summit this time. I'm going to bypass it, probably on the right. I'm going to be close to it, but not quite on it. Honestly, besides a few steep spots, this is a relatively easy hike. Just gotta pay attention to the trails so you know where you're going. We're almost back on 1163, but I'm not going to take that short spur to get to the summit like I did before. See right here? This is a little spur leading to the flag. It's almost like resummiting. It's only a few feet away. Whatever, it's already up there. Time to head back down along the ridge. Oh, and that breeze is nice. The sun's not even really that hot either. Honestly, it's probably only in the low 70s. Does not feel very warm today. It feels very nice. And that breeze is really cool. I'm a little sweaty. That's normal for hiking, but it's very comfortable weather today. Alright, so we're gonna go back down to that saddle. Okay, there's a rock here, so just watch out. Just be careful. Take your time. Get back on the slab. Just take your time. Steep spots, no big deal. Any hiker with even a moderate amount of fitness should have no problem at all with this hike. Like I said, it starts up pretty steep from the power line right away. Actually, starts off right off the bat when you hit the high court. Start heading up the hill. Starts off steep right away. So you get your heart rate going right away, but otherwise, this is a pretty gentle hike. Oh, and the huge trail's pretty steep too, but nothing really that insane. All right, so we just bypassed 1163 to the west. Now we're heading down southeast towards the saddle, and we're going to look back. That's where we're going up before. I'm probably going to end up climbing most of the way back up that, to be honest. I'm going to be climbing most of the way back up 1190 as well. But again, I am going to bypass it most likely on the east side of the peak. This peak I bypassed on the west side coming back. So just enjoy the views with me and get a few stills, because this is a very photogenic little ridge line, and see you along the way. Alright, so I'm just about back at the saddle between 1190 and 1163. Can't even see the top of 1190 anymore. It's not going down far enough. this gently uphill towards the ridgeline again. Here's another geographical feature. I've mentioned loving canyons and valleys, ridge lines, peaks, mountainsides or slopes. Now I gotta add saddles. I just love complex terrain. I love complex topography. It just makes it so much fun. Up over hills, down through saddles, up through ridge lines to peaks and mountaintops. Gotta admit, hills and mountains are so much fun. Here's an acouchidens. Here's another Quercus acouchidens. Most certainly, this is Quercus acouchidens. I don't think this is Berbertifolia. Are we developing acorns already? Why, yes we are, I think. Female flowers probably developing into acorns now. Cool. Scrub oaks are so much fun. It'll make you pull your hair out when you're trying to separate the species of hybrids, but they're just such cool plants. I like the shrub oaks just as much as I like the big tree oaks. Just so much fun to experience. All right. Well, my views as I ascend most of the way back up to peak 1190 before trying to find that use trail to head back down towards the power line right away, back to Epi Court. Let's see how this goes. Sure doesn't take much time to get up here. Yep, there's peak 1163. So I'm most of the way up 1190 already. So now what I do is when I get closer to the flag, I'm gonna have to make sure I pay attention and catch a use trail heading back down. See what I missed. Maybe make it a little bit less of a crazy descent. I don't know if that's a crowd. Looks like there's a pathway over here. Let me see. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to follow that. Looked like the start of a use trail there. So I got to kind of start looking to my left to see the ascent/descent trail to and from the ridge. Gotta start looking out for it. It's actually pretty close. Here's something here. Let's see. Let's see if this is it. Pay attention, make sure I don't miss any these trails to start descending the ridge. Yep, see? They've lost the trail. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, I feared some navigation would definitely be required to get me back. Let's see. I missed the trail somewhere. Where did I miss it? Holy moly. video, but not on my map. What I have to do is look for a trail heading roughly east. Get off this line. Let's see. Yeah, this is the part where it's a little confusing. Let's see. This trail's very well etched in. Yeah. There's the peak. Really close to this one too. Let's see. Here's something here. So right across here, I think this is a use trail. Let's see. See if this connects me to the ridge line or descent trail. See, I saw my footstep from earlier, so I did come this way beforehand. Okay, now just got to keep looking around. I'm not trying to go back up to the peak. I'm trying to descend from the peak, from the ridge line. This is a very faint use trail here. Okay, so now I got to look for something and down. There again, peak 1190. Now what I need to do is look around. Gotta kind of poke around and see what's good. Looking at my left. As of right now, let's see. Let's see if this is a used trail here. All right, let's see. Don't know yet. Let's see. Let me just kind of amble along a little bit. Let's see. I don't think this is much of a trail here either. Yeah, I remember that area down there. Ay, ay, ay. Kind of figured that going back down would be a little tricky on the navigation end. So let's see. I mean, worst came to worst, I felt like I was desperate. I could bushwhack through most of this light chaparral, but I really don't want to. Kind of would rather avoid having to do that. So let me see. Look around. There's a little rock bug. I've seen a couple sporadically up here in some spots. There's a trail right here. Let's see. Let's see if I'm just going back and forth or if I'm actually heading where I want to go. better to follow. Much better. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to really pay attention to the terrain when I map this out. I'll be able to get back. I'm not worried about getting lost or anything. I mean, like I said, I got suburbia all around me, so I'm not really tripping off that. Cool how these granites or these granite outcrops are peeling in little shards. It's pretty interesting. Okay, so let's see. I think the trail went on this side. Yeah, look at this. It's exfoliate. It's like an exfoliant. It's really cool. It's really cool to see. You see how pieces chip off and exfoliate. It's kind of neat, actually. But it's kind of neat to amble around this a little bit and see. All right, here we go. See my footprints again. All right, I think back on the right track. Just had to explore a little bit. Probably will. Yeah, I saw this little plant from further down. I think I passed it on the way up and didn't even see it. That's an Australian wattle, the genus Acacia. Probably Acacia longifolia, probably. Maybe Acacia cyclops. Yeah, I saw that from further down. So yeah, you do have to kind of look around. Sometimes these trails kind of get indistinct where there are slabs of granite. So you just got to pay attention, that's all. Should be heading the right way back down. I don't see my footprints here, but this should lead me down. I'm not really worried anyways. It's just such a nice day out here. Yeah, I see my footprints now. Such a nice day out here. Very beautiful place out here in Rancho Bernardo. Another highly underrated hiking area. As long as people are keeping it underrated by not bothering to explore it, the more we people who love to explore and see different things will get to come and appreciate it without hordes and crowds of people. So less other people come up here, the more we get to enjoy it. All right, down I go. Keep you updated on my progress as I descend the ridge. All right, there I am, just ambling down. Yeah, like I said, it takes a little exploration to find the way to the peak, because you got to kind of maneuver around and look for a trail heading off towards the peaks that you want to visit. But otherwise, this is just a fantastic and relatively easy hike out here. Just steep in spots, that's all. Take this little bypass right here. It's gonna be all slippery. Pretty hike. This was a pretty fun adventure. I really felt this one. I felt this one very much. Loved it. Beautiful chaparral. Most of it's pretty low. Some of these might be pretty thick, so if you felt like you had to bail out to go cross country to get back down the hill, you probably would run into some pretty gnarly bushwhacking, I would assume, because over here the chaparral's a little taller. This is definitely bushwhack type chaparral. This is not wading chaparral where you kind of wade between the shrubs and they're up to your shins or maybe your waist. Now this is more of your typical bushwhack type chaparral. So yeah, like I said, it's usually best just to stick with the trails when you're hiking. But like I said, there's some places you want to go visit that require off-trail travel. Just know your limitations, pay attention, and plan it out before you do it. Look for potential routes on the topo maps, Google Earth or Google Maps, especially Google Earth because you can see the topographical relief, and you can put the cursor over the area to see how the elevation changes. You can tell how relatively well how steep a section is. So yeah, there's a lot you can find out by researching Google Earth. All right, more descending. I'm going to be back at the power line right away relatively soon, and that's going to close out. Pretty interesting out and back. The curiosity kept nagging at me to explore further, and I was really tempted to go down in that valley, go on the other side and climb those two 900 something foot peaks on the other side. I was really tempted to go on the other side of that valley, but I don't know if it's private property over there, because past that water tank I saw a barbed wire fence and I didn't want to test it. Very tempting though to go down that valley. All right, just going to keep on descending this, and I'll see you on the next update. Okay, just about to rejoin the power line right away. Here's the end of our use trail. It's pretty tall yerba santa growing here too. I love when they get really tall like this, when they live for a while. They're not very long-lived shrubs, not nearly as long-lived as, say, chamise or manzanita, but when they get older, they get some nice trunks on them. This is, again, Eriodictyon crassifolium variety crassifolium. Basically the only yerba santa species in this area. So here's the end of that spur. There's the road. You could probably take that down to, I think, Rancho Bernardo or something like that. You'd take that down that way. Probably hike up there from there as well. Wow, this was cool. I really liked this one. This one was fun. I had fun on this hike. Really enjoyed this one. This one was a good hike. And I'm glad I was able to take you guys along for this one. So it's just walking along a power line road, get back to the car. All right, I'll see you along the way down for some last updates. I'm finally starting to see some fascicle tarweed coming up. Haven't seen a lot of it this year. Last year I barely saw any of this. It's an annual plant in the sunflower family. This is Deynandra fasciculata. This can be an extremely abundant plant some years. 2023, summer, it's a summer annual. Summer of 2023, this plant was everywhere. After that insanely crazy, awesome rainy season we had. And last year, it's a pretty good rainy season too. Barely any. Maybe they just spent themselves out. And this year there are a few more. Yeah, Deynandra fasciculata. Sometimes you will see so many of those plants. they're such a cheerful plant that flowers during the middle of the early part of summer, and while most of the other stuff's starting to turn brown from the lack of rainfall, this plant is punching out cheerful yellow flower heads. All right. What an amazing little hike this was. Again, see, I come with a positive attitude. I'm expecting it's going to be great. I'm expecting it's going to be awesome. That ends up being beyond epic. What kind of berry? Red berry. I think we might have Rhamnus ilicifolia here. Yeah, this is Rhamnus ilicifolia. This is hollyleaf red berry. Looks like. Yeah, cool. Okay, hollyleaf red berry. The red berries are such cool plants with those little red drupes, berry-like drupes. That's why we got the name red berry. Small little red berry-like drupes that are really cool, and they are translucent. So if you hold one between the sun or a lamp and your eyes, you'll see that it has a translucent glow to it. And they can make such handsome shrubs too. Definitely something that would grow great in the garden. Hollyleaf red berry, spiny red berry, or the rare hairy red berry will all make a pretty cool plant. It probably requires quite minimal maintenance because it grows naturally out here in sage scrub and chaparral. See, we've kind of busted out of the chaparral. Now we're in coastal sage scrub now. Black sage, California buckwheat, and some California sagebrush. Yeah, once you get higher up on the ridge, this kind of disappears. But here we are, Artemisia californica, starting to dry out because we're not getting any rain anymore. Unfortunately, it's time to say goodbye to that. Look how tall this one is, because it's propped up against this fence. This is a really tall Artemisia californica. That's another plant I've come to love a lot. I've known it since I was a kid. It was one of the first plants I learned as a preteen, just starting to get into our plants. Yeah. Look at that beautiful ridge, just covered in chaparral. Oh, it's so beautiful here. I'm just gonna follow this back down to Ebi Court. I just got this really steep descent coming up. Yeah, this part's gonna feel kind of awkward, but there's Carranza. So you can see where the Canary Island pines are lined up on the left side. That's Carranza. And my car is parked underneath some of those pines. So I gotta go down this steep right away here. And I will see you down at the end. Oh, first off, botanically, more Acacia redolens. Yes. Prostrate wattle, another Australian plant that naturalizes out here. Okay, see you down the way. Most of the way back down, but there's one thing I haven't really pointed out today, but it's very abundant along this trail, and it's woolly leaf ceanothus tomentosus. This is all over the place. So coming here in late winter, early spring, these hills are probably blue because they have purplish bluish flowers that when these shrubs are in mass, which is pretty common in low elevation chaparral, ceanothus tomentosus will light up, basically turn a hill blue. Oh, and yes, here's a young coast live oak sapling right here. There's a butte. Quercus agrifolia, right? Agrifolia. What a handsome young one too. Yeah, there are a few coast live oaks down here. And yes, get some handsome laurel sumac here too. The ceanothus tomentosus. This is a cardoon. I think this is cardunculus, I believe. But the color of the ceanothus tomentosus flowers are kind of similar to this. Similar color. Only those shrubs will cover entire hillsides. And here we go again. Chaparral bush mallow still blooming here. Malacothamus fasciculatus, variety fasciculatus. I was so glad I finally did a spotlight video on that one back in 2023. That was a long time coming. Look at this. Look at these young oak saplings all hedged along here. How cool is that? Yep. This is the classic coastal California tree. Quercus agrifolia, variety agrifolia. And these people have a mature one in their yard. Talk about a blessing. Oh, and yeah. Here's that other chaparral bush mallow from earlier when I first started this hike. So how beautiful is that? This is a pretty decent sized plant. They can get tall like this sometimes. And here's something I haven't pointed out much lately. Mule fat. Baccharis salicifolia, subspecies salicifolia. Yeah, beautiful sagebrush. I love that California sagebrush. Here's more bush mallow right here. Wow. Yeah, June is a magical month when it comes to a lot of these shrubs blooming here. So you get the herbaceous annual and perennial plants usually blooming during the winter and early spring, late winter and early spring, but the larger shrubs, they usually bloom a little bit later. Gosh, look at that. That is so beautiful. What an awesome plant that is. And we do get some interesting, we get some tamarisk around here. Oh yeah, just like the vibe out here. Never mind that noise. So I'm going to go ahead and cross that. I'm going to walk Epi to Carranza, and I'll walk back and show you some of those Canary Island pines. Alright, making my last steps back. Kind of sad to see this one go, but very happy I did it. Look at these laurel sumacs. There must be a seasonal wash down there. Yeah, there's some more mule fat here. And we got some, oh, handsome laurel sumac that's opening up. They're opening up now. The flowers are starting to open up. There's your evidence. Honeybees are taking advantage of that. Laurel sumac, what a cool plant. Here's a larger tamarisk here. I'm not sure what species this one is. It's one of the deciduous ones. Most of the species we have here shed their leaves in autumn. The shrub will turn buttery yellow in late autumn and will be leafless during the winter. Could be Tamarax chinensis, Tamarax ramosissima. Could be a Tamarax parviflora. Could be any of those. Can't tell those apart yet. There is one evergreen one that's not nearly as invasive, and that's Tamarax aphylla, the apple tamarisk, or apple tree, which doesn't invade as much. Handsome laurel sumac, and some type of a privet, a ligustrum species, probably Ligustrum lucidum, probably. But here's Carranza. We just left Epi. Look how large this laurel sumac is. And here are our Canary Island pines. Pinus canariensis. Some huge. I think this is Australocylindropuntia. I've seen this before a few times. I think this is in the genus Australocylindropuntia or something similar to that. This is not a native, but it's related to our choyas. Related to our native choyas. You can see what would have been a fruit aborted and is becoming a stem. So I think this is Australocylindrapunti, I think is the genus of this one. I'll have to double check it. But I think this is from South America. Look at how large and thick it is too. Sometimes these things get huge. Step it on pine cones. Yeah, these right here, these were actually leaves. These are the cactus leaves. And our choyas and prickly pears get these too, but they're a lot smaller. And they don't last very long on our native choyas. But yeah, here's a flower on this South American choya. What a handsome specimen. Let me get a picture or two of this plant. Here's our Canary Island pine, Pinus canariensis. Handsome trees. Hear the wind whispering through them. Yep. These are from the Canary Islands. Endemic. Very extremely widely planted here in Southern California. Coastal to foothills. Looks like the mountain pines you'd find in our mountains. But this is not a close relative of any of our native pines here even in the western half of North America. This tree is related to the stone pines, the Aleppo pine, the Afghan pine. Yeah, these are in the pinaster group. They're not really closely related to our pines in that matter. Cool to see though. These are very handsome trees, of course. You know me, I love conifers. All right, here's the car, right here on Carranza. And that's gonna do it for me. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed coming along with me. And I'll see you on the next video. Coming soon.